Hey everybody, welcome back to this episode of The Backwoods Geek. I'm Joe, the Backwoods Geek, and tonight I got a pretty exciting video to make for you. I've been working on a Creepymon deck, mostly today. I got it, last couple pieces I needed, got it together today. I was able to run it through a couple paces against decks like Imperial Digimon, and it performed really well. It's actually probably one of my favorite decks right now. After playing it, I really like the way it feels. I made a couple more tweaks to it after I got to play test it, and I think this is the final version I'm going to stick with for a while. So without further ado, I'm just going to get right into the deck list, alright? So, for this deck, I'm kind of going back and forth on the babies. I think you can get away with just running 4 Demi-Miramon, but I'm also throwing in the 5th BT8 Demi-Miramon. I do like its ability, where if a card's trashed from your deck, you draw a card. I don't hate seeing that, so I see no reason not to include it as a 5th egg, just in case, if there's any longer games out there. It may get cut. I feel like if a game is going to a 5th egg, I might have lost, because I feel like this deck actually is more of a turbo kind of rush deck than it is a control deck. It's really good at getting the opponent down in a couple turns. So I don't know, this may go away, but right now these are my eggs. 4 of the BT3 Demi-Miramon, 1 BT8. The regular Demi-Miramon, the BT3, same as it is in every purple deck. It's pretty much a staple. On deletion, trigger, draw 1, trash 1. So we're trying to fill up our trash with this deck, so obviously it's a good card to have. So moving on from the babies, we're going to go into our rookies. Alright, this is another staple for these type of decks. I'm running 4 Gabumon. This is the BT2 Gabumon, and it's just got the inheritable, where on deletion, trigger, draw 2, and trash 1. So it's really good for cycling through your deck and getting those cards into the graveyard. Really great card. That's why I run 4 of them, and it's pretty much all there is about that. I mean, I have no problem just slamming this down, promoting it, and attacking with it if I have nothing better to do. Because like I said, this deck is actually pretty aggressive. There's a lot of throwaway mons in here that I don't mind just promoting and swinging for the win, or swinging into security. If they die, great. I get to cycle my deck. So we got 4 of those Gabumon. The next rookie I'm running, 3 copies of Gazimon, BT3. This is your Floodgate Digimon. Your opponent can't gain memory except for Tamer effects. I may cut this down to 2. This might be one more change I make, because I'm finding that there's not many decks running anything other than Tamers gaining the memory at this moment. But right now I kind of like it at 3. And if nothing else, he's just something else I can evolve on an egg to draw a card. So 3 Gazimon, good card. 2 copies of Tsukaimon. Next, BT3 version. Just on deletion, gain 1 memory. This is a great card that if you don't have a Gabumon in hand, you put this on top of a Demi-Mira, and then a scatter mode on top, which we'll talk about later. You swing. If he gets deleted, you're not drawing as many cards as if you had the Gabu, but you're gaining a memory. So it could be the difference between you passing your turn or not passing your turn. Just a very good flex card. This is actually probably what I would make the 3rd Gazimon. If I decided to cut it, I'd probably just make it another Tsukaimon. But for now, I kind of like it at 2. Just that memory gain comes in clutch sometimes. And to round out the rookies, I've got 2 singletons here. I've got 1 copy of Labramon. Kind of plays the same role as a Gabumon, except his effect's on play. On play, you trigger, draw 1, trash 1. So again, he's just a good card for filtering into your deck and getting things in your trash. He's only a 3 cost to play, so you just slam him down, you cycle him, and then you can evolve a scatter mode on top of him when you're ready to get rid of him, or just start climbing up the ladder with him. It's a good card to have. I don't want to go too heavy on rookies in this deck because I don't want to get flooded with them. So he was a good one of in here. I probably wouldn't add any more. And the final rookie, who's not really a rookie, is Yellow Luciman. He's good because of the Luciman package that you got going on in this deck, as well as the fact that I run Dead or Alive. I mean, with how much you fill up your trash, too, it's not out of the realm of possibilities that you're just going to be hard playing this guy for 5. So you slam him down for 5, you recover 1, and then, great, you can eventually evolve a Luciman on top of him. So, good card. A little bit of recovery for this deck. Granted, I'm only running 1, so it's just a recovery 1, but you can recycle him various ways from your trash back to the board, back to your hand, with cards like Dead or Alive and whatnot, or Calling from the Darkness. Numerous ways to get them back, so that recovery 1 you'll actually see more than once in this deck, so it's pretty nice. So that's my rookie lineup, just running 4, 7, 9, 10, 11 rookies. Perfectly fine with this number. I likely wouldn't go up and down. I might just change the ratios, but this is a good number for me. So moving on from the rookies, I'm going on to the champions. This one's pretty obvious. It's a staple in all purple decks, but I'm running 4 copies of the Eismon Scatter Mode and 1 copy of Eismon. The only reason why I'm not running more Eismon is because you can't. He's limited to 1. So Eismon, again, the normal combo. Have him on top of a Gabumon, who's on top of a Demi-Mirror. Now you're swinging, he dies, you're drawing 6, trashing 4. That's a huge way to get through your deck for you. It's a 6-card draw, and you could choose what 4 cards you put in your trash. So you're cycling through, and you're filling that trash at the same time. He's a great card. And the Eismon's here, because if you're running Scatter Mode, you might as well run Eismon. Because if he gets trashed after that Eismon slams into security or gets deleted, you're now playing this Eismon from the trash for free if you discard it from your hand. So it's a free level 4, and we've got a whole slew of level 5s in this deck that are pretty effective. So it's nice to have a free level 4 out there that you can then Digivolve on top of. I'm going to put these 2 level 4s down together. They're not the same card, but they are. It's 2 copies of Ogremon. The EX1 version, and 1, the BT6 version. I like both these Ogremons, but I wouldn't go past 1 for either one of them. The EX1 Ogremon is really good for aggressive plays. He lets you trash a card from your hand, which you want to be doing, and you get that security attack +1. So with that security attack +1 now, you're hitting your opponent harder. You're getting more security checks out of the way. It just goes into that aggressive play style of this deck. So you don't have to plink people quite so often. So you go through, you play Ogremon, you attack twice, Digivolve on top of them, you're good to go. I mean, if you evolve a Cerberusmon on top of them, which we'll talk about in a little bit, you can swing, get the 2, put the Cerberusmon on them, get rid of the Cerberusmon, play Werewolf mode, swing again with Rush. So it's 3 security checks right there just off of Ogremon, so I like it a lot. And then the other Ogremon, BT6, you may trash 1 card in your hand to delete one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon. This is a great card. It comes in play with Creepymon. It comes in play with Calling from the Darkness. There's numerous ways you could cheat it out onto the board, and then you just pop a level 4 Digimon. This is great if your opponent's trying to set up a Imperial Dramon play into a Pale Dramon. He just has a XVmon sitting out on the board. You can pop that XVmon. Armor Purge gives it kind of a hard time because he'll just purge it, but it's still, now they have to play another level 4 if they want to go up into that Pyldramon. There's just a lot of good level 4s right now in the meta, so being able to just cheat out an Ogremon and pop a level 4, I'd say is a pretty good play. The next group of level 4s I'm running are 3 singletons, but they actually all go together. It's Ginkakumon Promote and Ginkakumon and Kinkakumon. So, Ginkakumon on play, you may place 1 Kinkaku and or 1 Ginkaku from your trash in this card's CG evolution cards in any order. If you place 2 cards with the effect, draw 1. So, if you have all 3 of these guys in there, in the trash, and you play something like Dead or Alive, they hit it in security, you actually bring out the Ginkakumon as your level 5 or below, and then you throw Ginkaku, Kinkaku underneath, and you got a pretty aggressive play going on in your next turn. Because now, whenever you attack, not only does he have Rush, if you do this on your turn, you can swing with him right away. Now, when you attack, you could trash a card to pop a level 3 Digimon in play. So that's your opponent's Floodgate Digimon, Searcher Digimon, a Bokomon. Like, there's numerous Digimon out there that this would love to pop. And then whenever you trash a card in your hand using one of your effects, which this is included, you gain a memory. So whenever you attack and you trash something to pop a level 3, you're gaining a memory. So he's a memory generator, and he's aggressive. So it's a really great play. This wasn't in my deck originally. I added it after the fact because I really like how aggressive it makes the deck. So this is definitely, I wouldn't go higher than this, but one of each, especially if all of them end up in trash, you could do some pretty great plays off a Creepymon or off a Dead or Alive. Now, I'm running these 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 champions. It's a good number for me. I haven't had a problem with it yet. So, I'm thinking, I cut a Witchmon at one point. I didn't really like what she was doing for the deck. I know some people run her, some don't. If you know why Witchmon's good, please leave it in the comments. I wasn't seeing it, so she got on the chopping block. But by all means, if there's something I'm missing, please put it in the comments because I'd love to give that card another shot. So on to the ultimates. First, I'm running 3 copies of Cerberusmon. Cerberusmon, it's a great card. He's another on deletion that triggers draw 2 and trash 1. So he's another way in a pinch to just trash some more cards and set up your trash zone for some big plays. Now, that's not his main play, in my opinion. I think he's mostly here to set up our next ultimate, which is Cerberusmon Werewolf mode. He has been the winning swing in almost all my games I've played with this deck so far, because you'll get to a point where you'll play something like Creepymon. You'll have 3 memory left. You play Creepymon, you Digivolve into him, go to 0. You bring back a Cerberusmon, swing with Creepy to get rid of the last security. Cerberusmon's on the board. You sack him, play Cerberusmon Werewolf mode, rush, and you win. So it's just a really good, versatile play that could come out of left field, just as a free rush Digimon that can end a game. And there's numerous cards that'll set this up. Dead or Alive will set it up, Creepymon will set it up, and if you just got him sitting on the board, you can attack with Cerberusmon to do a security check, and if he lives, then you sack him, go into the werewolf mode, and you finish with the rush. So it's a very good little package here. I would love to play this at 4 and 4 because I'm that enamored with this package here, but this deck just doesn't have the room for it, in my opinion. I've been trying to think of numerous things to cut or ways to make this a 4 and 4. But the more I think about it, the more I don't think it's necessary, so I'm probably not going to do it. But this is a great package. I like it a lot. The next 2 ultimates I'm running, Luciman Chaos Mode. He is pretty obvious for this deck. He's got a really good on-play ability, so when you play that Creepymon and you can bring back a level 5 or lower, you bring that Luciman in, and he's just popping a Tamer, or he's popping a Digimon. So he's great against hybrid decks. He's great against Imperial Dramon. He could just come in and delete a Dragon mode, delete a Fighter mode, delete someone's Memory Tamer. It's really good. It's a really good swing off of Creepymon, because now you've got Creepymon and a 12,000 Luciman on board, just for the cost of 3 Digi-Evolution for that turn. So he's a really good swing card. And plus, if you happen to have the yellow Luciman on board, you can always just Digivolve him on top of that for 7 if you're in a pinch. So it's just multiple ways to play him. And also, if they hit Dead or Alive in the security stack, and you have more than 10 cards in your trash, you're bringing him back to do a lot of damage. So it's a really good swing. So these are my ultimates. 2, 5, 8. 8 ultimates. It's a good number. I like it a lot. If there's anything else you're running, again, leave it in the comments. I'd love to see it, because this deck really gets me excited, so I'd love to see what other people are doing with it. Moving on to the Megas, I've got 5. The first 2, Lilithmon. She's very popular, a favorite in Lilith Loop. The deck built around her. I got into the game a little bit after that deck was really popular, so I didn't get to enjoy that deck. I know I would have if I was in the game. But her Win Digivolving ability is, if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, you may return up to 2 purple option cards from your trash to your hand. So this is really great for getting back those Dead or Alives, getting back those Calling from the Darknesses, getting back the Deadly Touch, or whatever it's called. I'm going to talk about it in a little bit. There's numerous option cards in this game in this deck that'll fuel your engine. So the fact that you could keep kind of cycling them in with Lilithmon, I can't talk, is pretty good. And on your turn, once per turn, when you use an option card, you gain 2 memory. So not only are you now recycling these option cards that you want to be playing, you're now gaining memory for doing it. So you play a 1 cost like Calling from the Darkness, you're actually netting 1 memory. So it's insanely good. These are all options that you're going to want to play anyway. So gaining memory for playing them is just really nice. And the next 2 is the star of the show, Creepymon. He's another one that I really want to take up to 3, but I just can't find the room in the deck right now. His when Digivolving abilities, you trash the top 2 cards of your deck for each of your opponent's Digimon in play. If you trash 4 or more cards with this effect, you may play 1 level 5 or lower purple Digimon card from your trash without paying its memory cost. This is an awesome ability. Decks like D-Brigade, decks like Armor Rush, even Imperial Dramon, probably Yellow Hybrid too. I mean, there's plenty of decks out there that can get at least 2 Digimon on the board. You slam down Creepymon, now you're milling your deck, and you're bringing back that Luciman, you're bringing back that Ogremon, you're bringing back any level 5 or below that you feel has a on-play ability relevant to you. Or you're slamming them down, you're digivolving them, you're attacking, you're slamming down Werewolf mode to just go in and rush for the win if he's in your trash. Or if he's in your hand, you're slamming down regular Cerberusmon to then sack him, play Werewolf mode, and swing for the win. So he's a very versatile card. Being able to bring back level 5 and below brings back the amount of gas from your 5s and belows in this deck is great. So being able to just recycle them, awesome. His when attacking ability, for every 10 cards in your trash the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. And this Digimon gets plus 3,000 DP for the turn. So this is really good, and it's obviously got exponential returns the later you go into a game. A lot of games I was up around 30 cards in my trash. So every time I'd attack with him, my opponent is now milling 9 cards from their deck. So they're milling 9 cards, and he's swinging for usually 14,000. If I'm reading this right, though, I believe they get trash top 3 cards of your opponent's deck, and this Digimon gets plus 3,000 DP for the turn. I believe that plus 3,000 DP also grows depending on how many cards you have. So 10, 20, 30 would be 3,000, 6,000, 9,000. If I'm wrong, please tell me in the comments. I don't want to be playing it wrong. I haven't been playing it that way yet, but I feel like that's the way to do it. I've been capping him at 14,000 just because I felt like it was really unfair. So please, by all means, let me know if that's correct. You swing with them, you're milling your opponent, you're getting rid of cards that they might find valuable. Nothing's better than swinging with Creepymon and watching your opponent mill 1 or 2 Megadeaths. I mean, it's a good time. So Creepymon, star of the show. The next card is more of a tech card, and it's Avenge Kidmon. When playing this card from your hand, you reduce its memory cost by 1 for each option card in you and your opponent's trashes. This is pretty good because we run a lot of option cards running this deck, and your opponent is going to have at least a couple. So it's very feasible that you're dropping this easily by at least 7 memory, and you're just playing him for 5, which is very reasonable for what he does. A lot of times you're going to be doing it for more. But on play, you get to return all cards with 3 Musketeers and their traits and all option cards from both players' trashes to the bottom of their owner's decks. If 7 or more cards were returned using this effect, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3 Musketeers and its traits or 8,000 DP or less. Now, this is good because it prevents you from decking out, for one. So any options that are in your trash are going to go under your deck and kind of extend your ability to play if you think you might deck out. And it's got the added benefit of being a hard counter to Beelstarmon if you happen to run into her in the meta. So the more popular she becomes, the better this tech card becomes. And he gets the added bonus of just popping something with 8,000 or less, which is a lot of cards. So it's a good little tech card. It's very dependent on your meta. If I was going to go up to 3 Creepymon, he would be the one that gets cut. But I see enough Beelstarmons that I like to keep him around. So for now, he stays. So that's all my Digimon. I like where they're at. All the ratios are good. There's not a lot of room in this deck as far as I'm concerned. So moving things around, unless you guys can make a really good argument in the comments for something or the other, this is probably the way the deck is going to stay for a while. Moving on to options, I'm running 4 Jack Raid. This card has been an MVP more often than not. It's pretty much a Hammer Spark for purple. Just comes out of security, gain 2 memory. It's oftentimes what shifts it to my turn. So I love this card, and I love seeing it late game. I love seeing multiple late game, because when I've got 30 cards in my trash, like I so often do, I play it and I'm gaining 3 memory. It's a huge swing. Lets you really get off big plays late in the game. Yeah, even early game when you only have 10, I mean, it's still an extra memory. You play it, and now it's just a regular Hammer Spark. So, boom, Hammer Spark, you gain an extra memory. It can help you do something that you wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. But it's really great coming out of security. That's why I run 4, because I wanna maximize the odds that it gets into security. Next option card I run is Dead or Alive. So, Dead or Alive's main effect, play 1 purple level 5 Digimon card from your trash without paying its memory cost. If there are 10 or more cards in your trash, you may play 1 Digimon card with Luciman in its name without paying its memory cost instead. So this card is fantastic, and it's one of the reasons why this deck is so good and why I have so many cards with very valid on-play effects. You play this card, you could bring back any number of those Digimon that were sitting in your trash. You bring back Chaos Mode. You could bring back regular Luciman. You bring back Ogremon. You bring back Cerberusmon. You bring back Cerberusmon Werewolf Mode for the win. There's so many things you could do with it, and it's even better if it gets activated in your security, because now you're getting it for free. So there's nothing like your opponent slamming into your security with a Paildramon, hitting Dead or Alive, and you bring back a Luciman and just delete him before he can do his second tap. It's a great play, and it's a huge momentum swing. And you can recycle it back into your hand with Lilithmon. So there's just so many plays to be made off Dead or Alive. And with your whole trash being full of cards that it could potentially hit, it's essentially like another hand. So you want to see Dead or Alive as many times as possible, but you also want to run enough that you can even see it in security, because it's very effective. Next option card I'm running is 2 copies of Deathclaw. So this was the option card. I forgot the name of earlier. It's Deathclaw. So its main ability, you delete 1 of your Digimon to delete 1 of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon. I like this card a lot if my scatter mode all of a sudden decides it wants to have jamming and it won't die in security. I could play this after he attacks to now delete him and filter my deck a little bit. And it comes with the added benefit of popping a level 4. So you're using it now to take out a Pokemon, take out a Floodgate, take out someone's XVmon, take out a Greymon, take out a Gatomon. All these level 4s that are pretty essential to different deck strategies, you can just take them out real quick before they can even really do anything. If they're not protecting them in the breeding area. It's just a really great card, and when it comes out of security, you don't even have to delete 1 of your Digimon. It just straight up deletes an opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon. So it's really good for those flex plays where you want something of yours to be deleted, and it won't do it on its own. You can kind of force the issue and get the added bonus of deleting someone's Digimon of level 4 or less. And it's a 1 cost. So while you got Lilithmon out there, this is now essentially +1 memory every time you play it. So very good card, but I wouldn't want to see more than 2, so I run it at 2. And the final 3 options I'm running are 2 Calling from Darkness and 1 Purple Memory Boost. Purple Memory Boost is pretty self-explanatory. Just reveals the top 4 cards of your deck, and you add a purple Digimon card to it. Rest go to the bottom, and then on a turn after, you pop it, gain 2 memory. So just a solid card, solid searcher card, and a way to make a big play later in the game. And then Calling from the Darkness. This is kind of like a Dead or Alive light, but it's got the added benefit of being 1 cost, and 1, working well with Lilithmon, and 2, you can use it to memory starve your opponent. You can just set them to 1 with a pretty good play. You delete 1 of your Digimon, then return up to 2 purple Digimon cards from your trash to your hand. So again, if you got that scatter mode that refuses to be deleted, you can force the issue, play Calling from the Dark, do all your draws and discards from your scatter mode, and then you can take 2 cards from your trash, put them in your hand. So if you have that Cerberusmon out and you want to finish the game and you want to play that Cerberusmon Werewolf mode, you can return that card to your hand so you can play it. It's just really good at picking and choosing your hand. So as long as it's in your trash, this card essentially makes it in your hand. So it's a really good hand fixer. These are my options. I like them where they're at. There's probably nothing I would change at this point. But again, if there's options you're running that you're having success with, please, by all means, leave it in the comments because I'd love to hear it. And moving on to the final bit of cards. The last 4 are my Tamers. Just 3 copies of Analog Youth, 1 copy of Matt Ishida. Matt Ishida is an obvious pick. He's a memory fixer. So I love being able to just go to 3 memory. So that's why I want to include at least 1. And he comes with the added benefit of on play. You can just return a purple Digimon card or purple option card from your trash to your hand. So if there's a card in your trash that you would like in your hand, play Matt Ishida, you get it back, and you got a memory fixer. So good 4-card tamer, and will help you make big plays late in the game. It's great if they hit it in security. Even better if you just get it early game. You go second, they set you to 1 or 2 memory. You just play Matt Ishida really quick to set yourself up for the rest of the game. Really good. That way you can start at that 3 memory. And then the 3 copies of Analog Youth. This card is a mill engine for your deck, as well as having the added benefit of when your level 5s are deleted, you can suspend them to gain a memory and hatch a Digi-Egg. He's kind of like a backwards Mimi. So when you delete that Cerberusmon to play Cerberusmon Werewolf mode, you can now tap Analog Youth and hatch an egg immediately, or promote something. Oh, so he doesn't do everything Mimi does. So he just can hatch a Digi-Egg, which is great. If you promote that Cerberusmon, you attack with him, he gets through, you sack him, play Werewolf mode, you tap Analog Youth, you can now play another egg, play your Gabumon on it, draw another card. So he's a good little engine there, and when you play him, you reveal the top 3 cards, add a Digimon to your hand, and trash the remaining. So that's what makes him good for this deck, and it's different than most searchers. Most searchers have you put the cards at the bottom of the deck. He has you trash them. So essentially, for all intents and purposes for this deck, he's a draw 3, because any cards that go into your trash you're going to see again. So you're putting the one that's most relevant to you now in your hand, and you're saving the ones for later in your trash. It's a great card. So that's the deck. I really like this deck. I really like how it's been performing. It's a little more aggressive, and it feels, on first glance, it looked like it would be more clunky than Mastodon, but to me, it actually feels less clunky and less bricky. So I really like it. It's a little more aggressive. I find it to be a little faster, and I like its self-contained engines that it has. It's got a lot of engines for getting cards in and out of your hand. So, yeah, I mean, I would love to go up to 3 Creepymon because I think he's awesome. I need some alt arts. I would love to max rarity this deck because right now it is definitely my favorite. If there's any of you out there running Creepymon and you got a different tech, I'd love to hear it. So again, like I said before, leave me a like, comment, subscribe, comment with those different tech options that you run for this deck, because I'm really curious to see what you guys are doing out there, and I'd love to change up this deck a little bit and test a bunch of things and find something truly special, because I like this deck a lot. At least while it's relevant in the format, I want to squeeze as much out of it as I possibly can. But yeah, that's been this deck tech and this episode of the Backwoods Geek. Glad you guys could join me today. I hope you tune in next time. I'm going to try to put out more of these deck techs and start getting some games up on here. Have a good night. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.